Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Play Hockey podcast brought to you by the Let's Play Hockey Expo. The Let's Play Hockey Expo is, of course, the largest consumer hockey show in the land, and it is back for 2022. The Expo is going to be held March 11th and 12th at the St. Paul River Center, coinciding with the boys' state high school hockey tournament. The Expo is sponsored this year by the Minnesota Wild and by True Hockey. So mark your calendars, hockey fans, and head downtown for the latest and the greatest in the hockey industry. Great atmosphere, apparel, interactives, celebrities, much, much more from some of the top brands in the industry. That is March 11th and 12th at the Let's Play Hockey Expo. It is a show that you definitely do not want to miss. If you're keeping score at home, this is episode 4 of the Let's Play Hockey podcast. And for the second week in a row, we are going to do a deep dive into a girls Class AA hockey power. Melissa Volk is in her 9th season at the helm of the Andover Huskies program, where they are currently unbeaten and ranked number 1. It's a position she is familiar with, and Melissa Volk joins us right now. Welcome to the Let's Play Hockey podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. So you have achieved quite a bit of success in your tenure at Andover. Forgive my ignorance, because what may appear like I didn't do my research, my homework on you, I actually did. But I just want to confirm, this is your first experience as a head coach. Is that correct?
Yes, at the high school level. So actually, my very first year of coaching, I was a head coach of a U15 team. But yeah, way different than a high school program.
Well, this is so impressive to me. I've had just, this much experience coaching at the high school level as part of a high school football program. I know that so much goes into it. And for you to step out into this and to have this much success is really very, very impressive. I want to just run down your road to Andover. You coached in high school you played high school at Irondale. You were a Knight, then 4 years at St. Olaf. You graduated with the BA in Exercise Science and in Business Management, double major, impressive. You received your MS from St. Cloud State. Based on what I'm seeing here, was it always your intent to go into coaching? Has that been sort of this intentional path to this point?
Not exactly, actually. So when I was in my master's program, I was the grad assistant for the program. And I actually wanted to get more into corporate wellness. And I kind of saw hockey as more of a hobby. When I was done playing in college, I had gotten asked to coach my sister's U15 team in Elk River. So I was doing it kind of more just for fun and to help out. And then in my master's program, there were lots of people that wanted to be athletic directors or coach at the college level. But like I said, that was kind of just on the back burner. But then once I kind of started my career, and then I was the assistant in Andover, and then just the opening happened. And now this is what I really enjoy doing. And I get to stay at home with my 3 kids and coach. So I kind of have the best of both worlds.
No, I'd say it's a great balance. Well, if it was not plan number 1, it's worked out okay for you, if I might. 4 conference championships, 6 Section 7 championships, 2-time state consolation champions, 1 state runner-up, and 1 state champion. It's all right. You've done okay. So I don't care who you are, what you're doing. That's quite a run. Now, I know, too, that as populations grow and shift, high schools kind of come into and sometimes out of power based on what's happening with the population. When you were considering, when you said this job became available, did you see Andover's program poised sort of like on the edge of greatness, or is this all because of you?
Oh, this is because of the hard work these kids have put in. Yeah. When I was here, it was for 2 years. I think that's when the population was just kind of starting to roll over. At the high school levels, we had some really good players when I was an assistant there. And then definitely when I took the head coaching job, I saw an opportunity for us to go to state that first year. And then we've just had a lot of really committed young girls and parents, some great dads who have coached the girls over the years, some great moms as well. And now we're just kind of at a point where our youth has done well, our high school has done well, and it's super fun to be a part of the program.
And you've got it rolling. What is your relationship with the Andover Youth Hockey Association, and how is the health of that program?
I'm sorry, kind of cut out there. What was that?
Yeah, I was wondering about your relationship with the Andover Youth Hockey Program and your opinion sort of about the overall state of health of that organization.
Yeah, so we're really lucky where we have a really tight-knit community where our youth really supports us, and I would like to say we do a good job of supporting them as well. It's pretty fun since I've been here for a long time now. Like all the girls on the team I've known since they were like, 7 or 8 years old, and now we're getting to know the girls even younger. My two of my assistants and I, we all have kids all in the youth hockey program, so. Um, One of my assistants, she has a girl on the U8 program. She's a second grader, and then myself and one of my other assistants, we both have kindergartners, and then we also have 4-year-olds. So we kind of are hitting up all the kids from the junior husky level, and then the mite level, the U8s, and then obviously the 10s, 12s, and 15s in the off seasons.
So I grew up in White Bear Lake, and the White Bear Recreation Department just sort of it did its own thing. And we would hear about in Stillwater, they were running George Stoll's offense or versions of it. They were limited to certain places they could run in practice. So by the time they got to high school, they'd run these plays like, a la Green Bay Packers in the 1960s 1,000 times, right? So do you do that same sort of thing with the youth program? Do you have them running a certain breakout or penalty kill, or how much autonomy do those coaches get?
I trust those coaches to do their own thing. Especially like the type of style we like to play. We like to play kind of a just understand the game and a read and react type of style of hockey. So the youth coaches, they do a great job, and we just support them in any way that we can help.
So we managed to have Ken Pauly from Vanille St. Margaret join us a couple of weeks ago for a very enjoyable conversation. We talked again with Ken about how there's, once again, great talent in the boys class AA program, but unlike some years past, it doesn't really seem to be just residing in one or two programs, that it really seems to be this dispersal, and that there seems to be from 1 to 15 just an nth of separation. And on any given night, and we know that with anybody in a hot goalie, anything can happen any given night, but this year more than any other, it seems like the boys AA is really wide open. Where girls AA is concerned, you once again find yourself at the top and being shadowed by a program that you know all too well in Edina. We're going to talk about the Hornets in a moment. But if you would, as a coach who I know keeps your eye on who else is out there, who else should we be watching out for?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I honestly, in the girls' game as well, I would say kind of like that top 1 to 10 as well. You have to really show up and earn your win. Even just last week, we played Warroad and Proctor, and they're in Class A, so obviously we won't see them down the stretch. But they're Class A programs, and they're the top 3 for Class A, and we definitely had to earn those wins. So I would say there's not really one particular team that we're, keying in on. Just like every day, we definitely have to show up if we want to get that win.
So I don't know if you'd be fair to call this a rebuilding year for your Husky program, and nobody's going to cry for you over the players that you may have lost to graduation. But have you ever had a team where your defensive core is as young as the group that you are using this year?
I don't believe so. I mean, it doesn't really get much younger than that. We have, of the 6 girls that have been playing varsity, 4 of the 6 are freshmen, 2 are sophomores, and the only returning D we have is a sophomore.
So do you see a situation where you've got an exceptional junior class? They're going to be around for one more year. As these girls grow and progress, might you see a transition from the defensive position? Are you playing there out of necessity, or are these all, like 6 of them, you're saying, they've got the potential to be locked in for the next 4 years playing defense?
Yeah, I mean, they're super talented kids, and they're super coachable, but every year we reevaluate. So just because you're in one spot one year doesn't mean that you're going to have that spot next year. So it'll kind of come down to the off season, who's willing to work.
Let's talk about your junior class, and let's talk about specifically the forwards and one line in particular. And I'm wondering, as I'm seeing just the numbers that these girls are putting up, was there ever a temptation to break them up and to spread that talent throughout your lines, throughout your roster? What went into that decision, and put some names on that for the people who are not familiar with who I'm referring to?
Yeah, so the line is our captain, Ella Berger, and she is centered by Isa Gettle, that's an assistant captain, and Maddie Brown as a junior as well. And actually, they were split up for a little bit at the beginning of the season. We were having a little bit of trouble producing, and if they well know that if they want to play together, they do have to produce for us on the score sheet. But now they've been really clicking on the score sheet, but then also they play a great defensive style as well.
Speaking of defense, you also boast one of the best goaltenders in the state, who also happens to be, again, a junior. I imagine just the thought of Courtney Stagman in goal before your head hits the pillow helps you sleep better at night.
Yeah, she's a great kid. It was fun to watch her in that Edina game for people that were able to tune in. She was on cloud nine, as she should have been after that game. And it's always fun to see like a kid like her succeed because she's a great hockey player, but off ice she is a great student, and she also really helps out with our youth hockey as well in the off season.
Have any of those, they've got some time yet, but I'm wondering, have any of those players made commitments about where they're going to play their college hockey?
For the juniors, yeah, so Ella Berger and Madison Brown have committed to St. Thomas. And then for our senior class, Sarah Kaiser will be attending McKendree University playing lacrosse and hockey there. Asher Gerbeau will be playing at Hamlin University, and Emma Heath at St. Olaf College.
Nice, impressive. Following after in your footsteps.
Yes, yep.
Yes, okay. She's got big skates to fill. All right. Now you mentioned it. You recently had an opportunity to play your arch rivals from Edina on Hockey Day, Minnesota. Obviously, a great honor for your program and a game that the rest of us in the state of hockey wants to see. But I don't have to tell you that a lot goes into that. And there's travel. You're playing outside in conditions that I may have grown up used to, but you kids, and include you in that group,
Yeah.
you grew up playing inside. That's a different sort of thing. They know it's going to be televised. They know it's Edina. How much energy, how much focus went into that? And then coming out of it, did you have to do anything different with the girls to get them back into the grind of the season? Because it's coming at a point in time in the year where it's roughly like 2/3 of the way through your season. And that kind of is where the stress of the season seems to be the grind, maybe getting them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, January was definitely a grind. We were on the road pretty much the whole month, and we went up to Grand Rapids one weekend, down to Mankato for Hockey Day another weekend. We were just up in Proctor, so we were on the road, a lot of road games. But going into Hockey Day, we actually didn't really focus on it until after Christmas, which I'm actually glad that we didn't focus really on it until then, because otherwise we really would have missed out on all the other games before then, and just focusing on each game at a time. But after Christmas, we had some of the television crews with us, so we kind of got forced into it. But we were super fortunate to play in that game. Mankato just did an awesome job hosting Hockey Day. Like, they really, really, really impressed us. But like you said, yeah, this time of the year is a grind on the boys' side and the girls' side. It's those kind of dog days of winter, especially with the weather too. But you just got to push through it. And then now we're into our last regular season game that we actually have tonight, and then it'll be playoff time.
Yeah, for those outdoor events this Minnesota winter, I mean, if you go from the Winter Classic to Hockey Day Minnesota to the freaking U.S. Soccer game that was played last night at Allianz Field, nobody's gotten cheated by Minnesota winter for playing at any of those events. Going into it, you guys had the early game, right? You knew you got to be on the ice at a time when the girls aren't used to playing at that time, and you may have been going, gosh, wish we were later in the day. As things went on and the snow starts to come down in Mankato and all the rest of it, how fortunate were you thinking, like, hey, we got out of there just in time?
Oh, yeah, we definitely got the great game. It was sunny, and the temperature was just fine. I think it was like 10 degrees. It was just fine. We actually practiced the day before out there, and it was very cold, very windy. Like, as a coach, you were just literally being blown across the ice if you had to bend your knees and get ready. So since we kind of braved the conditions before, we knew what we were in for. So actually, honestly, Saturday was just a pleasant surprise, and we were just really grateful to get to play in that game.
And you end up throwing a 4-0 shutout. Did I read correctly that Courtney Stagman decided to wear shades in that game?
Oh, yeah, she had to. She was actually facing the sun for 2 of the periods, and it was really bright. So she actually wore one of my assistant's sunglasses, and it helped her. She should wear them every game.
I just don't know if I've ever seen that in hockey. I just don't know if I've ever seen that. That's really interesting. All right, let's go back to the season, because now it's February. We've just changed the calendar on another month, and you're about to hit playoff time and the rest of it. I'm wondering, you've been through this so many times. How do you balance the grind of practice versus games, and does that change for you as the season wears on?
Well, like I said, January was actually a grind with so many games. So we're actually been really happy to have some practices here. So we haven't really had to deal with that because there's been other seasons where, yeah, I mean, where you have a stretch of a week or two without a game, and then that's another story. So the balance actually is an important thing because the kids just want to play a game. So we're actually in a spot where we got some practice time. We're actually happy for it because we have had so many games. Our JV team actually had, because we played on Monday, they actually had 5 games in a row. So I don't think I've ever seen them so happy to have a practice.
You probably never will again either. So in coaching high school football, and I was just a position coach, but we had such an amazing run of success that I seem to remember the losses more than I remember the wins, and I don't recommend that to anybody. And looking at what you're accomplishing with this team and this program, I'm wondering about you personally. What do you take away from the season at the end of the year? And are you like that? I mean, do you remember it's like, gosh, if we had just, picked up that loose puck or whatever it is, or do you remember personal victories by seeing a young woman achieve something? What's your process look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at Andover, we like to win, and we understand that a lot of hard work goes into those wins. We do like to have fun, but we do emphasize how, winning is fun, and you got to work hard to get that. But to be honest, I don't really focus on the losses. I think we don't really validate a season as being good or a game as being good as a win or a loss, and we look at the kids. Did they grow as hockey players? Did they grow more importantly as people? We push a lot of character values, work ethic, having positive attitudes, self accountability, being great sisters and daughters, and citizens in our community, being respectful. So we kind of look at that a little bit more. And honestly, did the kids have fun? I think a lot of times fun gets lost on things. There's a lot of pressures out there, especially in high programs where kids are fighting for college scholarships too. But we all know that we play best when we're having fun. So we really just try to cherish the moments with our teammates and honestly just have fun out there.
That's a great answer. I needed you like 8 years ago when I was doing what I was doing. Okay. It's therapy since then for me. The last 2 seasons have ended with your Huskies playing for a state championship against the same school, Edina. 2 different outcomes. Knowing that you're involved in hockey year round, once the high school season is over, how easy for you is it to kind of turn off the faucet and transition into off-season mode? Or is there such a thing as off-season mode for you?
Well, actually, honestly, yeah, right when the season's done, spring is always fun to just kind of sit back and relax as a coach. The players don't have as much of that because they got all their tryouts for HP and USA Hockey type things. I wish they'd get a little bit of time off when the season's done. But for me, especially like with my family, I do take some time off just to relax and not be on such a rush so I can just kind of enjoy some time with my kids. But then, yeah, I mean, once the off season hits, you are focusing on your players getting better. But once again, I think the off season is also like we try to work hard and we try to work on some skill stuff, but also just make sure that we're having fun because we don't want kids, getting burnt out. We want that love and passion for hockey to remain.
Speaking of that love and passion for hockey, where do you come down on girls playing off-season hockey versus maybe you mentioned one of your athletes is going to go to college and play both lacrosse and
Mhm.
hockey. Do you like to see that crossover to other sports? Does that help? Is it just dependent on the individual? Do you have any hard stance on it one way or the other?
Honestly, I love kids that play multiple sports. I mean, obviously during hockey season, hockey is your number one sport. That's your number one priority. But it's great that kids play other sports, and we have a lot of great athletes who have started other sports even in high school and been some like top players like on our tennis teams or lacrosse teams just because of that crossover and that hand-eye coordination, the athleticism. But that being said too, so I love the multi-sport things, but that being said too, I understand too, we are super fortunate at Andover. It's easy for me to say that when a lot of these kids, their number one sport is hockey, with those other ones being secondary. So it's a little bit easier for me to say that. But we love just kids playing lots of sports and we got great athletes here.
I don't think that's, I mean, I appreciate your opinion on that because, I was at a very large school and I watched the participation level of the kids that used to play football and basketball, football and hockey, to where the coaches were like, "I'm playing the guys that go to the camps, I'm playing the guys that go to whatever, so it was difficult to have that, that kid over there, and they almost don't exist anymore in some of those programs. So I appreciate your openness to the girls playing and getting those other experiences. Whatever you're doing, Melissa Volk, I don't have to tell you, it's working. So any secrets of your success that you want to reveal before I bid you goodbye?
I don't know. Like I said, we've been fortunate that we've had some really great kids who have come through the program and really believed in the culture. We've been really lucky to have a kind of a trickle down leadership effect, like I've spoken to a lot, where, coming in as a new coach, I look at 9 years ago, like it was hard, especially we had a huge upper class. And it was hard, and it was not always fun. It was not all roses and all, but I speak to some coaches, to stay in the game and just, as long as they're fair and consistent with their rules, and stick with it, and develop the girls into great leaders, and then makes your job a lot easier when kids are coming into the program knowing the expectations and then wanting to work hard for you.
Well, this is that busy time of year, so I just want to say on behalf of everybody at Let's Play Hockey, thank you for making time for us. The insight you provided is really interesting. Whatever you're doing is working, so good luck and keep it going. Hope the team stays healthy throughout this run, because I know that's, with as crazy as this world is right now, that could determine a lot of things, right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are the absolute best. Melissa Volk is the head coach of the girls program at Andover High School. Melissa, thank you. Good to catch up with you. Thanks for making time to speak with us. And we want to wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. Stick around. I'm going to be right back with you in just a moment. A reminder, the Let's Play Hockey Expo is indeed the largest consumer hockey show in the land, and it is back again this year for 2022. The expo is going to be held March 11th and 12th at the St. Paul River Center, coinciding with the boys' state high school hockey tournament. The expo is sponsored this year by your Minnesota Wild and by True Hockey. So mark your calendars, hockey fans, and head downtown for the latest and the greatest in the hockey industry. Great atmosphere, apparel, interactive, celebrities, much, much more from some of the top brands in the business. That's March 11th and 12th at the Let's Play Hockey Expo. It is the show that you seriously do not want to miss. This is the Let's Play Hockey podcast. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Tim McNiff. And until next time, we want you to keep your blade sharp, your head up, and of course, your stick on the ice. And we will see you down the road.